my plan. I say lob it to Ryan Perez in the paint off a couple of screens.
Esquivel to Garcia. Off the deflection. Los Fresnos comes back and wins. Now Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria!
There's Warner. Here comes a head of the jam. Counted for two. The field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game.
Smack to the left. That is gone.
Lob for Perez. That's my play. Off the backboard, counting, and a win. And a win. Ryan Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go nuts. And why not?
Well, live once again here from none other than Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac. Luke Fruia Motors, Buick GMC and Cadillac off of Old Alice Road, off of Price Road to be exact, here in Brownsville, Texas. As well, we got ourselves a little bit of a storm going on outside, which is going to be interesting to see how it all plays out outside. But we're indoors, safe from, of course, the rain. And, well, it's going to be exciting. We have a lot in store for you all, of course. It's just going to be interesting because there's volleyball going on. We had some amazing games yesterday. We'll try to talk about it. We were going to have a more special show. Plans have officially changed. And so, well, guess what? Yours truly is back, and that's phenomenal. Very excited to be back here for at least this episode of the Luke Fruia Show. You're going to start to see a lot of, I'm sure, rotating cast in this show, of course, and that's exciting. Reminder, of course, we're not too far away from football season, which means we're not too far away from showing you all the magazine officially all done and dusted there. And, of course, we have none other than the beautiful volleyball season going on. We have week 0 in college football this weekend, which means next weekend is officially week 1 of college football and week 1 of high school football too. So we have scrimmages going on, of course, this weekend for that, as well as Will TSC. They played, of course, a couple 2 scrimmages last night, 2 friendlies to be exact last night, and that's something, of course, to talk about a little bit, just because, well, they want to get into that winning spirit. They want to get into that winning column. I forgot. For TSC, we'll talk a little bit about that because this is their 3rd year, which means a lot of them have, graduated from junior college, which means this is a new team, basically. A lot more freshmen this year, so a lot of younger team. That's how you're going to see a lot of course, colleges happen, but some of them, they pull in a lot more, not juniors, but they pull in a lot more sophomores from the transfer and all that fun stuff. It happens a couple of times, and so it's something to, of course, talk about. But of course, TSC, they're not too far away from the regular season as well of soccer. So all of that coming up. We were going to have one of the segments of this show be being able to interview, but didn't happen the way that we would have liked to, and so, well, here we are, which is phenomenal. We still have a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about the games last night. And then, of course, this weekend is going to be the Brownsville volleyball tournament. And then the Mission CISD tournament for you all. And so that's going to be very great to have. So just very exciting in general. Of course, as we mentioned, football season around the corner. Well, you have UTRGV football. We'll talk a little bit about that as well because, well, it's just pretty interesting. And I want to start off with this because it's something that I had thought about for a couple of times. For UTRGV, of course, they have their football program, and I got told a couple of things, and it's pretty interesting. Of course, they tried the transfer portal, weren't necessarily successful to get a lot more players from that transfer portal. Completely understandable considering it's their first season. They got one player really, which was pretty interesting. And from the transfer portal. The rest are, well, from Texas, and that's good. They went up north. They went all of it from all the sides possible to try and look for a team. It's going to be a young team again. 3 wins, like we mentioned. That's going to be key. So very exciting for themselves. Yes, looking forward to it. Again, first game's going to prove a lot for this team, but the best part is you have players from down here. Eddie Lee Marburger going to be your starting quarterback for none other than UTRGV football. Malachi Blue, I think he's going to show a lot of promise on this team. I don't necessarily know the in-depth. I'm just trying to give you, of course, from the outside looking in. My only gripe, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not the biggest fan of turf. So that's my only gripe of HEB Park, Vacar Stadium. You know, they wanted to go that route, and that's completely fine. I think it's a safe route. A lot of teams have that, but if you want to be even more successful, you want to take that next step, go find a way to have, real grass. But that's just me. All the games will be starting at 7:30 p.m. for UTRGV football, so at their home games, so they'll be lucky for that side of things where it's not going to be for at least the start of the season. They're not going to be playing in 100-plus degree heat on a September Saturday. So thank goodness for that. They were able to get that going. But now, of course, breaking into the volleyball realm of things for high school volleyball. Last night were some amazing games that we were able to cover. For, of course, the Harlingen plus the Brownsville veteran side of things. That was a game. But the two biggest ones, of course, on the upper valley, on my side of the valley to be exact, was none other than Sharyland High School taking on McAllen Memorial in district play, and none other than Mission High School taking on Laredo Nixon. That was an interesting one, to say the least, as well, because for Laredo Nixon, and well, it was just pretty interesting because I just saw a big lightning strike, a little close, but of course, like we mentioned, it's storming outside, so you're going to hear some thunder potentially. Hopefully we don't lose power in the hour that we have this, that we basically have this show going on for you all, trying to do this as best as possible and stay as focused as possible. But going back to it, for the volleyball sector, it was pretty interesting because for the, we'll start off with the game that I covered. Mission High School taking on Laredo Nixon. Laredo Nixon came into that first set seeming like they were able to dominate what they needed to do, focus what they wanted. Of course, this was going to be tough. We knew that this was going to be a tough district match for Mission High School. Were they going to be up for the challenge? Their biggest thing is getting back to a chance to win district against their rivals, potentially, of Mission Veterans Memorial. That was the key. And I knew this coming in, but Laredo Nixon, they're not an easy team every single time that they play against Mission High School. It seems like that is the case of Mission struggling against a very difficult Laredo Nixon team. So Laredo Nixon coming to Mission High once again, and, well, it was something of the sorts. Like I said, the first set, Mission High School struggled against Laredo Nixon. Laredo Nixon were able to pull up a lot of leads, but the biggest thing was for not necessarily Mission, but for Laredo Nixon kind of keeping that lead for a bit. Mission High School did a smart thing in that first set. They called a good amount of timeouts, coach did her job trying to keep it as close as possible and ended up being 25-21 Laredo Nixon in the first set. The Laredo Nixon were trying to close out each set that they possibly could. But in the closing stages of that first set, Mission High School had a bit of momentum. They were able to get key points right at the end of that set. That set them up for a very interesting second set. The second set was all Mission High School. Mission High School from the get-go, getting a couple of points, and all of a sudden going on those runs that they needed to. It made it into an interesting side of it being, well, just making Laredo Nixon having to call making Laredo Nixon have to call timeouts and trying to turn the tide. But Mission High School were able to stay strong in that second set and ended up winning by 10 in set number 2, 25-15, helping out that team by far. Brianna Longoria behind the line, being able to serve very well, and the whole entire team really helped out in the end to get that victory. So I was impressed with the state of that second set. Now, could Mission High School do it again in the third set to take that advantage of 2 sets to 1? Of course, in this best of 5 set match, that was going to be key for Mission High School. What could they do at that time? Well, Mission High School were able to do exactly that. It was a closer third set, as Mission High School did have to come back in that third set, but were able to do exactly that. So it was very well done in the end. Just a little distracted with the rain, but rain looks good and nothing severe about it. But anyways, we're going back to it. So again, going back to it, trying to focus here on the Mission side of things. Mission High School, they were able to get the job done when they needed to the most in that set number 2. So was looking good, and that was mainly the key thing. They get the third set victory to take it 2 sets to 1 lead. We're going to take a quick little break. I'm going to get refocused here. I'm going to look at the weather real quick, make sure that everything is good. We're going to come back alive, and we're going to continue this talk. Be right back after this. Stay tuned.
This summer, settle in and reconnect with one another. South Padre Island has so many great places to stay. Condos, resorts, and hotels. Oh my! Book your summer getaway today. And start making memories poolside with the people you care about most. Visit SoPadre.com.
Elevation, AT4, AT4X, Denali. Case closed. Fruia GMC, we're professional grade.
Back live we go once again here on a, well, let's say a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Of course, well, it's raining outside and definitely much needed for the entire valley here at Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, come by. It's right off of Old Alice Road, Price Road, I believe. You take that exit, and you should be able to find it. Anyways, moving on. We were talking again about the Mission High School game, and it was pretty interesting. Getting that second set victory was key to tie it up at 1 set apiece, and then that third set, it was a little closer than anticipated in a way. And so that was just very interesting indeed. So pretty loud boom right there. But again, going back to it really quickly, just wanted to get you all with the second, or well, really the third set. Yeah, 20. So check that. The second set actually was where I got confused at. The second set was very tight. Mission High School, that's where they had to come back in that second set and win 25-23. Now in the third set was when Mission High School really had that momentum and were able to really just stay focused and dominate that third set 25-13, leading 2-1. This was a key pivotal moment in the game. It was looking like, well, again, it's all Mission High School. What happened in the first set was pretty interesting. Of course, we talked a little bit about it with it being 25-21, Laredo Nixon taking that first set. And so it was a tight one. And then, well, Mission High School having to come back. That's exactly what Laredo Nixon were able to do in set number 4. 28-26 victory. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. A lot of action. Again, Mission High School were able to sort of come back into that one. But that was the difference maker in the end, just winning that set number 4, Laredo Nixon staying alive. But then all of a sudden, in the final,
rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
When you study
back live we go once again here. It's been pretty interesting, and I believe we should be back up and running. And yes, indeed, we are. So, it's just making sure that we should be back up. Just trying to make sure that we are live. Okay, I don't think we are, though. That's the only problem. Okay, should be good. Just trying to make sure that we are. Anyways. Rainstorm, of course, outside, the reason why. But going back to it, Mission High School having a great first test, to be fair, in district. And, well, Mission High School, of course, I got to talk afterwards to our player of the game, Brianna Longoria. Brianna Longoria was just saying, look, we knew it was going to be a tough test, but we were ready for it, and sure enough, getting the victory was key. So it's exactly what ended up happening. And Mission High School, they go to 1-0 in district play with the Mission CIC tournament right around the corner for themselves. So exactly what they want, not necessarily wanted to have happen, but when you are tested in district, what will it be like? And sure enough, like I mentioned, that first set was a key testament to what that game was going to take to win. Set number 2 coming back in it, and then set number 3 showing up when the time mattered most in set number 5, getting the momentum and winning that game. Absolutely just perfect. So, going back to it, what happened not too far down the road on 2nd Street? McAllen Memorial were taking on none other than Sherryland High School. Another big rivalry game to start, well, another big district match to start off the season. I would say definitely a rivalry, kind of an unwritten rivalry. Why? Well, because both of these two teams, both these two schools, they know how to fight against each other or just battle against each other really well. Soccer, we've seen it time and time again on really girls soccer. We've seen it time and time again on volleyball. We've seen it time and time again in even football sometimes when they got to play against each other, even in non-district play. It's just, it's fierce. It means a lot in the, I guess, city rivalry in a way. Because to be fair, both of these two schools, they're not too far away from each other, and that's what makes that district so well. And that's what makes, of course, the district playing and all that really just nice in sports like this. 31-5A, I mean, we're talking the furthest drive for any school really in that one was to Valley View, and now I'd say it's to possibly PSJ Southwest, which isn't too bad at all. And so that's kind of course, the way that I look at it. Either way, going back to it, it was going to be a fierce one, but in 4 sets. Remember, McCall Memorial, we're coming off of a big Pound Fest victory in the game, or in that tournament, I should say. And so in that Pound Fest, it was a big, the MISD tournament. It wasn't filled with just easy teams that you could cakewalk. We're talking, of course, McCall Memorial were there, Mission, or not necessarily Mission, but Gregory, Portland, and other schools of that sort were there, where it was going to be very difficult. But that was big. McCallum Memorial were able to win against their rivals of Mackay in that tournament. They played against Gregory Portland and were able to show up Gregory Portland in the end for that victory. So that was a key thing. As for what we were going to see in that tournament, we really did not know, as 4th place ended up being Sharyland High School in that tournament too. So both of those two schools didn't get to play against each other, but they got to play against each other in the Summer League, I should say. So that was going to be key. What was that going to be like when they played against each other when it mattered most in district? And, well, we got our answer last night. Joe Bowling was on the call there. He had a pretty interesting setup with the 4-camera setup, 2 on the inlines of the courts, and one, of course, where he was, and another one, I believe, on the opposite end of the court behind the scores table. So that was going to be, if I'm not mistaken, if not, it was to zoom in and things like that. I think we almost got hit by lightning. That's fun. They expect it to go out again, just FYI. But anyways, it was an interesting game, back and forth, as we would expect. And just in the end, McCall Memorial able to win in 4 sets and over none other than Sharyland High School, starting off 1-0 in district play. It's a reminder that I always think of this. It's really, in a way, 6 teams fighting for 4 playoff spots in District 31-5A, and it's proven very quickly. 35A will be a bit different. I think it's going to really be down to a 2-horse race for district title, and potentially we might see a little push for that final playoff spot. Still long ways away from that, but it's just very exciting of how good both districts are. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we are going to switch gears, and, well, we're going to talk a little bit of TSC soccer. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
College, you can choose from over 50 associate degree programs, certificates, and workforce training programs, all at the most affordable cost in the Rio Grande Valley. Transfer your TSC credits to a university or start a new career, like Kat Gomez, who graduated from TSC and is now patrolling the streets of Brownsville and serving her community. Register now at tsc.edu/register and study local at Texas Southmost College.
At San Benito Vision Source, the optometry staff works around your busy schedule and take the time to answer your questions and concerns prior to a visit. Dr. Jaime Rodriguez and Dr. Laura Loki offering full vision examinations, diagnostics, and treatment of an array of eye diseases and conditions to keep your eyes healthy. Call the friendly staff today with questions or schedule a consultation. San Benito Vision Source.
This summer, it's time for mimosas and brunch with the girls. A beachside lunch with the kiddos. Delicious Bayside burgers. And world-famous fried shrimp with a cold one. South Padre Island has your breakfast, lunch, and dinner plans covered. Book your summer getaway today. Visit sopadre.com.
Truck Techs in Harlingen is your source for lifts, wheels, and tires. Talking trucks of any size, any model, and any year. Specializing in accessories with top-of-the-line products to bring that special look to your truck in a professional way. Lifts, wheels, and tires, with financing available too. Call today or stop by Truck Techs in Harlingen.
My son Leo just graduated from high school, but also with his associate degree from Texas Southmost College at no cost at all. Not having that financial burden was so helpful to our family. That's 2 years we did not have to pay for.
All of my TSC credits transferred to UTRGV, and I am so grateful to go into my major debt-free.
Back live we go once again here, and well, it's been a very exciting show so far. Just a lot of weather around. That's of course been the key. One of the crazy things, of course, right now, well, with that rain, well, there was some rain yesterday, and so it's a perfect transition into talking Texas Southmost College soccer from last night. The men's soccer team, of course, played, as well as the women's soccer team played. And against Mambas FC was pretty interesting, one of the teams. So, kind of breaking it down, of course, this is kind of where this team is coming in to this season. And some may say it's good, some may say it's bad. They have a very, very young team. What does that entail? Well, I haven't been able to talk to anybody from TSC recently, but one of course, the things is, how is that chemistry with the team for these friendlies? They have not gone to any conference and or non-conference games yet. That's the same thing for not only conference games, but for sort of non-conference. But again, it's how are these friendlies going to be? Who's their goalkeeper going to be for the team for the season on both the men's and the women's side? Because that's what these preseason friendlies are about, is seeing your options, seeing, of course, and it's interesting because I bring this comparison up not a lot, but just sometimes. Preseason friendlies and preseason is so much more important in soccer than it is in football in my eyes. And so it's more interesting in my eyes to watch preseason friendlies for soccer than it is to watch, of course, preseason for the NFL, which is hilarious, of course, because others would say, "Are you crazy?" But that's just, of course, that's just me. But I won't necessarily give TSC a whole pass just yet because we don't know what their season's going to be like. But they have mainly freshmen on the team compared to sophomores. There's only so many on both the men's and the women's side of coming back. Players that I'm pretty interested in, especially on the women's side, have been the signees of, Sherryland. The reason of why is because, I've gotten to call a lot of them, and of course the goalkeeper, that's going to be key. The goalkeeping on the women's side, that's where I always question, because you need height at that position. One of the biggest players that I can think of, the best goalkeeper in the RGV for women's soccer, in my eyes. You go back to 2019-18, was Lexi Gonzalez. She's in her 6th year at, now Houston. She's a Houston Cougar now. But, of course, she had the height. She's, in my eyes, that successful. But it's a young team. There are good amounts of sophomores on the team still, but those veterans, now they have to be the leaders of the team. They have to. There's no will they or won't they. Let's talk a little bit, of course, about the men's game last night. When they played against Mobs FC, that was a key game in general for this team of, it's preseason friendly, but you're looking at who's going to stand out and what and where. The biggest struggle with the team last season was taking the strike and having those fall on target. It took up until 20 minutes left in the second half for Texas Southmost College to find the back of the net. Yes, it's in a friendly. They get the win. There's something, of course, to look at and say, okay, it's interesting. Just TSC, of course, there's still so much more. We don't know where they're at the moment still. The regular season, of course, I brought up their schedule. I want to bring it up one more time, of course, for this one. I just looked, I should say, online. But for women's soccer, of course, the next one is at Texas A&M International University. That's on the road. And, Texas A&M International, that's in none other than Laredo. And same deal, I believe that the men's team will be playing Laredo Heat. So they still have another exhibition / preseason friendly left this upcoming weekend. Those apparently at 3 p.m. And so around that time for the men's and the women's. And then really August 29th, that's when they officially start off their season of non-conference matchups and conference matchups, from home against Jacksonville College, on the road against Tyler Junior College, and then Parrish Junior College will be on the road, as well as Northeast Texas Community College. Then they go back home September 10th. They play none other than Trinity Valley. And then versus Navarro. It's really where it kind of starts off at their tougher games. And I will give them credit. Being able to play against these very, very difficult teams. And it's good. It's very good for Texas Southmost College to be able to play these tough teams. Interesting fact, of course, of the matter is that the series record is tied with Northeast Texas Community College for the men's, 1-1, 1 win, 1 loss. They happen to lose on the road. That was their first inaugural season at Northeast Texas. Parrish Junior College, it's a lot tougher of a team. I don't believe that they've won against them. And then, of course, Tyler Junior College. Well, that is your game to think of, because that's a team that year in, year out is ranked in the top 25 of the NJCAA. So it's interesting. These are baby steps this season for TSC to make sure that they're good enough to compete. And I'm not just going to say good enough to compete for a playoff spot, for a spot in the NJCAA tournament. It's to compete for a potential top 25. This is their year to finally make that headway into the top 25 in my eyes. Year number 3, it would make sense for both the men and women. But again, there's so many difficult teams. This is going to be key against LSU Eunice. That's a team that they have not gotten to play against yet. They played against them in non-conference play, but now playing against them in conference, that's going to be key. Jacksonville College, that's a replacement. They've always been a strong team as well. And then we look at Blinn College. One player that, of course, I would like to look at on the women's side for Blinn College is Mejia. She signs with Blinn College. She does not sign with TSC down in the Valley. And so it makes me, of course, curious of how that recruiting really goes and all of that. So all of the fun stuff. But either way, very exciting for this season coming up for themselves. So we're just about to hit 2:40 p.m. We're going to take a quick little break here. When we return, we are going to go back with covering, of course. Well, next week will be our big week. I'm sure I won't be here next week. I'm sure we'll have Kevin Naro and, of course, Joe Bowling back talking about the football season coming up very soon. It's going to be very exciting here. So again, stay tuned for some big news. I think we'll have some more shows your way as well. Next week, of course, the Sherryland Tournament as well. Reminder, you can also watch all of your favorite Rio Sports live games and, of course, talk shows on the Roku app. Just search up Rio Sports Live, and still working on the Apple app. Not out just yet, but we have the Google Play Store app back out. All you have to do is search up Rio Sports Live. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
This summer, it's time to go outside and get some air. Explore a pirate ship. Or go horseback riding on the beach. And you can't forget about all the fun on the bay. South Padre Island has so much to do for the whole family. Book your summer getaway today. Visit SoPadre.com.
South Padre Island. Enjoy endless activities for all ages. Then dance the night away with live music. Savor fresh seafood and discover unique food trucks and shop our charming boutiques. What are you waiting for? Escape the everyday at South Padre Island.
Graduation time. Time to make some decisions. What's next? Can I afford to continue my education? What are my options? At Brownsville ISD Career and Technical Education, you can graduate from high school with a certificate and or license ready to go to work, debt-free. We have a wide range of programs for every student, ranging from audiovisual, law enforcement, STEM robotics, electrical, welding, pharmacy, patient care tech, and many more to choose from. That's why Brownsville ISD is the best choice.
fiber. This is our home. Take a look at what we do.
The standard of excellence has always been Cadillac, so be iconic and drive one. Fruia Cadillac, Brownsville, Texas.
This summer,
Back live, we go once again to hear from Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, well, check out Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac. Pretty interesting, once again, of course. Once again, I'm Jacob Young. This is Rio Sports Live Network, but pretty interesting. Of course, we move on, talking a little bit of football. It's going to be very exciting once again this season. We don't have the full schedule for you all here for what games we will cover just yet. But stay tuned to our social media pages for all of that because it's very exciting. I wanted to talk a little bit about this Week 0 matchup this weekend of Iowa State, Kansas State, because it's pretty interesting and fascinating in my eyes that 2 years ago, or this has been going on for about 2 years, that college football thought, let's try and go international for the first week of the season, and really it ends up being week number 0. Of course, you have Hawaii playing in the famous Week 0 game, as they always do every single year, and that's always a fun treat as well because you just get some type of college football back. But this time, this year, of course, last year, we had a massive game in none other than Dublin, Ireland, and it started off Georgia Tech taking on Florida State. And an instant classic. Florida State coming into the season ranked, I believe, 3rd by the AP poll in the preseason polls. So they come in there ranked number 3 or around there, expecting to make it to a bye and win the ACC. Well, what happened was unexpected. They get upset by Georgia Tech. Last-second field goal, back-and-forth game. Went Haynes King just about doing it all for his team and really showing that Georgia Tech could be a force to be reckoned with and that who knows where Florida State is. Well, quickly shifted to Florida State not doing that much this season, or this last season, which was unfortunate for them. After the national championship that they had in 2015-ish, around that time, with Jimbo Fisher. So it was unfortunate. So it was exciting. So again, just kind of going back to it. That was a great game. So this year is pretty interesting. Not too long ago, of course, as well, you have, of course, the famous Orange Bowl, but there was a stadium way back in the day named the Orange Bowl constantly, and now it's called the Camping World Stadium, I believe, is what the official name is. It's pretty interesting for the stadium because not only for the name, but it's really nice in Florida where it's located, and it hosts 2 bowl games every single year. It's called the Cheez-It Bowl, and now with the name change, both of these got name changes if I'm not mistaken, but either way, it's the Cheez-It Bowl and the Pop-Tart Bowl. It's been for the last 2 years of the Pop-Tart Bowl, which is absolutely outstanding. And this is why it's so much fun, because they've each had amazing games each season. The first year, of course, was Kansas State, and it was very difficult for Kansas State to find it, and they were able to, well, get the victory in the end. The Iowa State game was Iowa State against University of Miami, Florida. Or Miami, Florida University, I should say, the U. Either way, it was very exciting because no one knew what to expect from that game. They expected Miami to kind of wipe the floor, and it was back and forth for a long time. Miami kind of took off for a bit of that game. Iowa State came back and won it, and that was, I believe, the 26th, or not 26th, around the 28th of December. Absolutely phenomenal, because the way that Iowa State was able to come back and win in the Pop-Tart Bowl was absolutely outstanding. My favorite bowl game of the season, of the year. Why am I telling you all of this? Because both of them are playing against each other. It's the first game of the Big 12 season, and it's in Dublin, Ireland. And both of these two teams, they will have a tough season ahead, even after that. Because these two teams, how open the Big 12 is, have an opportunity to win the Big 12. I'd say not necessarily either of them are front runners, but they're in that situation of, if we do well, we can win this. So we just had another flash. So anyways, very exciting for this weekend of slate of games. Hawaii's playing in theirs. College football is back, which means high school football is literally around the corner, and we cannot be happier here at Rio Sports Live Network to bring you all this coverage. And I don't know as well if you all heard the big news, which has been occasionally happening. The big news, well, Rio Sports Live and News Center 23, or not News Center 23, I should say, but the Valley Central, I should say, there we go, have officially agreed. They've signed the deal, all of that fun stuff, and we will be showing 90 games with the help of Channel 4 on their networks, their platforms. And, well, Joe Bowling was on news, I believe, the news about a day ago or something like that, and absolutely outstanding. We cannot wait for it. And gosh, it's going to be a blast. This is what we wanted. This is what Rio Sports Live has always been thriving for, is this expansion to this. So, one of those situations. Anyways, we're looking forward to it. We can't wait to bring you all the coverage. Moving on to another exciting part. Well, we always love to talk about racing here on this show. It's a fun race weekend. It is Virginia International Raceway Weekend. And it's very exciting because, well, we have, it's just a Michelin GT weekend, which means no LMP2s and no GTPs, which is the reason of why there's only 2 more races left in the season for the Michelin Endurance Series, the WeatherTech Racing Series, the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, because they only have fully the 6 hours, Battle of the Bricks, the 6 hours, and then they have the Petite Le Mans, 10 hours. So very exciting there. So I'm looking forward to that race this year or the last two races. So, yeah, looking forward to it. But again, going back to this race weekend, several racing series will be there. The first racing series, of course, added to none other than, the VP Racing Fuels Challenge. What we love to talk about on this show, Samantha Tan Racing will be in attendance for that one, meaning they will be racing. It's going to be a triple header for them. The reason being for the triple header is because they got their second race on Sunday at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park canceled due to rain, postponed due to rain to this weekend. So now Virginia International Raceway plays host to 3 races for the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge. That includes LMP3s and none other than the GTDX category, which is GT3s, and then the GT4s. So that's very exciting indeed. We'll see how Samantha Tan Racing's pace is in the bronze category, especially needing to win that category. And Samantha Tan holds a lead in the series at the moment in the GTDX bronze category. So really just needing to get the biggest thing that would benefit her would be getting 3 podium finishes, possibly 2 out of 3 of them being on the top step of the podium, would help benefit her points lead at the moment. She has every opportunity to win all 3. I really do believe she's that strong of a racing driver, and very exciting again. So we're looking forward to that. Of course, another one that I'm very excited about is the Michelin Pilot Challenge. The Michelin Pilot Challenge consists of, TCRs, which is touring cars. That's front-wheel drive cars only. That consists of the Hyundai Elantra. That consists of a lot of hatchbacks like the Honda Civic hatchback as well. The Honda Civic Type R. The Acura front-wheel drive sometimes, I believe, would be a part of that. I don't believe they're a part of this series, actually. But a lot of those. That's the TCR category. Now the GSX category, that's GT4s. That's your Audi GT4 to your Ford Mustang Dark Horse, the one that you'd see mainly on the street a lot of the times. That's a part of it, as well as none other than, the BMW M4 GT4. So all of those fun stuff, all of those fun cars are a part of them. Absolutely love them. Absolutely love that series because it's 2-hour endurance series normally. You have driver swaps, and the racing is outstanding. So very excited about that race as well. And the race weekend is just I expect it to be a blast. Now, one of the things, of course, Brian Herta Autosport in that series, they've been killing it. And, look forward to rooting for my 2 teams that I do for that team with, of course, none other than Bryson Morris and also with Maddie Ust. Now, Maddie Ust, of course, the reason why I'm rooting for her is because, and her team, is because, she's been very successful. The coolest part, of course, has been her rise up the ranks from SRO Americas to the biggest one, of course, not only going to IMSA, but also being a Texan, which is always awesome. Then the next one, of course, with Bryson Morris, an ex-Samantha Tan Racing teammate. We still love him. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Harry Godsacker as well I believe, is a part of that race weekend too. So very exciting. Of course, the biggest driver in the GTD field for the big race, the GTD Pro and GTDs for the main race, Neil Verhagen. We love that man as well. Old teammate of Samantha Tan, racing back when they were in the GT World Challenge Americas. So moving from that series over, of course, she's had that full-time seat with Paul Miller Racing. He's been absolutely phenomenal with that team, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do here. Hopefully BMW get another win in Madison Snow. All of the teammates hopefully getting a successful weekend. Very exciting once again. I'm looking forward to it. Just about to hit 1 hour, of course. It's been pretty interesting once again. Of course, we had a little bit of a blip for the power, but we're back on and looking forward to it. So again, thank you all very much for watching this show and listening to it. I know it was a little short. We didn't have too much to talk about, but again, it's getting very close to the season at front for football, and of course for none other than volleyball. We're looking forward to that. Thank you all very much for watching. We will see you all very soon. Tomorrow, of course, like we mentioned, your schedule, we have the Brownsville ISD tournament and the MC ISD tournament. We're ready for it. Hopefully you all will be too, and hopefully you all will be tuning in. Until then, I've been Jacob Young. This has been a Rio Sports Live presentation. Thank you all so much for watching. Just trying to wait for it to hit 3 p.m. officially, as I thought it was closer to 3 p.m. So we got a little more to yap about once more. Of course, wearing the Chill jersey. Always love wearing it and supporting all the people that I do. Either way, very exciting once again. Getting ready for tomorrow, this weekend, Championship Saturday for both tournaments. Tune in to YouTube or, of course, Roku TV or